With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back! Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, a part of the Podcast Playground Network. This episode 60, everybody.
Woo-hoo! I don't know if that's a milestone or not, but it sounds like it. Big 6-0.
Sounds like a milestone to me. Of course, you know, when you get to be my age, you say, oh, to be 60 again would be so nice.
Really? Did you really say that?
I don't know, but I'm thinking it right now.
It's kind of lame.
Let me tell you this.
That's kind of lame.
When I was 60, I was doing very well in the comedy world. I was working part-time at a radio station. So yeah, 60 was good. Now I'm just sitting on my ass doing a weekly podcast.
All right, I hear that. Yeah, I get it. I think, though, if I were going to go back in time a little bit, I would choose a little earlier age, which is interesting because I started watching the new series of Loki on Disney, which is all about time travel and different realities and stuff. So, yeah, we're right in the ballpark with that. Yeah.
Well, you didn't say which, year would I prefer to go back.
Right. We just said 60. Yeah.
And we just said the year. If I could go back, I would probably, and I know a lot of people will say never, ever again. I would go all the way back to my teens.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And if I could go back to my teens, knowing the mistakes I've made.
Oh, well, yeah.
And knowing what I know today, my life would be totally different, my friends.
Everybody, well, I won't say everybody's would, because some people are dumb enough to make the same mistakes over and over and over. And I probably have done my share of repeat offender mistakes. But yeah, if you could go back to when you were, whenever, 20 years old, 15 years old, whatever, yes, you'd rule the world by now. Of course you would. If you did it right.
Yeah, I'd probably make other mistakes that I didn't make the first time.
Yeah. I'm buying this little company called Apple. No, not the record company. It's a computer company. I'm buying this little company called Apple. I'm buying a lot of their stock for really cheap. Oh, yeah, really? Never heard of them. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So, and this thing called Bitcoin. You probably never heard of it. It's like a nickel a piece. I'm buying like 1,000 of them. Okay.
I still don't know if that's going to be a long-term investment. I have not determined that one yet.
I don't care. If I could have bought it for a nickel, I'd have been a multi-billionaire by now. And who cares whether it's doing if it's a thing or not? I probably would have cashed it out. But see, that's the problem, of course, with all this stuff. If you don't know and you buy Apple stock for $1, when it gets to $20, you're like, ooh, woo, woo, I'm a rich guy. But not knowing it's going to be $1,000 in 10 years. So never mind. We could play that game all day long and it doesn't go anywhere. So how you doing?
I would say my biggest mistake as far as the stock market concerned would be Facebook.
Facebook. Did you ever own any Facebook stock?
I bought Facebook in the very beginning.
Seriously?
And then, of course, Facebook, I forget what I bought in. I mean, I bought in at the beginning.
Wow.
And it had that little, jump.
Sure.
And then it went.
Then it went crashing back down like it.
And I go, oh, my God, I'm getting out before, this goes to zero. But if I would have kept it now, because now after it went.
It went on to be. It went on to grow just a little. Yes.
So
you'd have been a millionaire.
Yeah, I'd probably been pretty rich if I'd have saved all those shares. But no, I had to call my broker. Sell now.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
See, that's it. So when we talk about going back in time, do you have the knowledge and the wisdom that you have today, or do you just go back in time? Because if you don't know, you're just going to make the same mistakes. If you do know, well, you're messing with the space-time continuum thing, and there are consequences to be paid for that.
So
all right? So I was asking, how you doing? We're both kind of drool. What's that?
We just talked about my, stock debacle. What's your biggest stock debacle? Are you much into stocks?
I was, and I bought. I should look them up and see, or I should look at the chart, because the problem is to look at a chart nowadays or to look at a price. It could split multiple times. The stock could, like Apple stock split 5 for 1 or 6 for 1 or something like that. So you could say, oh, I had 100 shares. Yeah, you'd have 600 today. But to answer your question, I bought stock in a little high-tech company. Oh my God, it would have been 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. A little high-tech company called Intel. You might have heard of them. They make these computer chip things. And I bought it for like $15. And I don't know. I'd have been a multi-billionaire probably by now. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't worry about that stuff. You can't go back in time.
Yep. But maybe someday we'll be able to.
I'm looking forward to that day. Looking at you, scientists. So. All right. I've asked you 3 times now. How you doing today?
Not bad. A little, we talked a little bit about, you needed your caffeine. I've got my body armor going, but I have learned with caffeine, I will not drink caffeine because I don't drink it every day, because it does make my heart beat a little faster than it probably should.
Okay.
I will never, ever, ever drink coffee on a Sunday again.
Oh, there sounds like there must be a story here. Do tell.
So I'm watching my Buccaneers.
Oh, yeah.
And, it was really kind of a close game. I mean, it was a squeaker down to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And the caffeine in that game almost gave me heart failure.
Right?
So never caffeine on a I'm inches away from walking away from the world of sports.
You mean just yesterday, or in general for everything?
Well, I don't know. I'm happy because, of course, this podcast we record on a Monday.
Yep.
It will drop on Wednesday.
Yep.
So this will drop the day after the opening of the NBA.
That's right.
And I must admit, the Warriors in preseason aren't looking too shabby.
Okay.
So maybe I have a little bit of hope left in the world of sports. But yesterday, Dolphins lost. Bucks lost. My favorite race car drivers messed up their cars before, the race was over.
Okay.
Not a good day in sports for Odom.
Okay. All right. Well, I totally get that. The Bucks kind of looked flat. And Miami, I don't know what they did last night. Normally they're scoring a ton of points. They didn't last night. Again, of course, they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, a real team. My Cleveland Browns won a squeaker against Indianapolis.
Squeaker? By one
in the last 30 seconds. That was kind of a squeaker, yes. So they had a good night or a good afternoon. And it's funny because I was traveling. I usually go to visit the lady friend on the weekend, and we were traveling. So I was watching the end of the Cleveland game from a Sonny's barbecue in St. Augustine, Florida. So it was exciting. And then of course the Jaguars had already won on Thursday night. So Yeah, but I get it. The sports thing. Now, like you said, NBA starts this week as we record this. The NHL for you hockey fans is already up and running for you hockey fans out there. So it's good. It's, sports is coming back to life. So that's okay.
I will say this.
Oh, and baseball, by the way, is in the midst of the divisional series. So yeah, there's baseball too, which seems like nobody cares, right? So
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't. I heard something like Philadelphia might be in it. I don't.
Yeah,
that's the only name I think I've heard. Philadelphia, Houston. What are they in the World Series yet, or is it still playoffs?
See, I didn't watch. I watched the football game last night, so I'm assuming Philadelphia won and beat Arizona. So I'm assuming Philadelphia is going to the series, and the Houston. It's a Texas thing over in the other league. It's Houston and the Texas Rangers, and I don't know what that happened. I don't know what happened in that game. I'll look it up while you talk.
Okay, yeah, but that's I haven't followed baseball at all this year, and I will say this, and I am sad to say this: the Bucks yesterday looked like what I thought the Bucks were going to basically look like all year long, but yet they started the season pretty decent.
Right.
So for some odd reason, the guy who went into the season not very excited about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but figured, I'll watch. And then they got me all excited. Like, ooh, they might actually, I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but they might actually do, all right.
Right.
Now I'm down to the point going, you look just like the Buccaneers.
Do you place the blame for that on my old friend Baker Mayfield, or because he came to Tampa and I'm not going to throw around big words like, everybody thought he was like the savior or something like that for Tampa Bay, but he was okay in Cleveland. He's a fun guy, he's an interesting read. He's good to quote at press conferences, but on the field, meh.
I still think a lot of it has to do with the offensive coordinator too. They went for 2 4th downs that they probably should have never went for. If you're like if you need more than 6 yards,
right,
and you're like at the 50-yard line, I can see maybe if you're at the 30 or 20-yard line. But when you are at the 50-yard line and you go for a
4th and 10,
4th and 6, somebody should just take you and beat you outside behind the outhouse.
The woodshed. I get it. I got it. Okay. So just to tell our friends, our baseball fan friends, that we are not totally lame. Both series are still going. Texas and Houston are playing a game 7. To decide who goes to the World Series there. And Arizona actually won the other night. So Philadelphia leads Arizona 3-2 in that series to determine who goes to the series for that one. So there you go. So we want to show that we're on top of it here. We're keeping up with everything baseball, sort of.
Now, if you want to go again back into the direction of opening season, opening game last night in the NBA, I'll tell you, I still think he's so skinny. I'm a little bit worried about him in the NBA, but boy, and I can't say his name. It's some mile-long name, but the Spurs #1 draft pick this last draft, Yuka Kotoyasaya, who's like about 8 foot tall, and he weighs probably 90 pounds. No, he probably weighs a little more than that, but
right.
But he's a little skinny stick, and people are making shots, and he's just whacking them down, and he's also making 3-pointers. This kid, if he doesn't get hurt, because like I said, he is an awfully skinny, tall guy.
Right.
And I think you got to be a little bit like a Shaquille O'Neal, where you got some girth on you.
Right.
You're going to be playing under the bucket.
Right.
But, man.
Oh, I see. Okay. Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Wembanyama. Yeah, Victor Wembanyama. Boy, that's going to be hard to say for those guys. But yes, he's San Antonio. Yeah. And that's a big boy. You're right. And tall and skinny as a rail. You're right. So going to be interesting. All right. Well, good. So, I'm glad you're keeping up for us here.
That's my sport though, more than even football.
Interesting.
Basketball. Basketball
Really?
is. Oh yeah.
Is that because you're from your son and through our connection to Shaq and all of that? Is that where that's come from, or where is your connection? Why is that a thing for you?
I'll tell you, I've always kind of been a basketball fan, but then I like baseball. I drifted away from it for a time. And then, of course, the Shaq, world and, the Odom family colliding with the, Shaq world in the way that it has, which is a marvelous thing.
Yes,
I kind of got back into
too.
basketball.
I love it too.
I discovered this guy named Steph Curry.
Aha.
And that just took me over the top.
So
I could watch that kid play basketball all day long.
And what is it that you see in him? I mean, I get it. He's a superstar. Obviously, he's a GOAT, if ever there was one. But what is it about him that drew you to the game?
It's just, he makes the 3-pointers. He can actually go up to do a layup and looks like has no chance in hell that the ball is going to go in. And somehow, some way, he still puts it in the bucket.
There you go.
I'll tell you, I don't know if he, because, I live, as we've mentioned before, in Central Florida, living in Claremont, just outside of Orlando. I got to look at the schedule because if they play the Magic, I have got to be there this year. I missed it a couple of years. I think they only play them like every few years, though, but I missed the last time that, the Warriors were in Orlando. But yeah, Steph Curry he's just too much fun to not watch.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And I admit I'm not a huge basketball guy. Well, I shouldn't say huge, but I like it. I enjoy it. I'll watch a lot. Like you said, mostly our friend Shaq is there, of course. But, and then I had my thing, of course, with LeBron James, Cleveland boy. I mean, Akron, I get it. But, took my look, I still have it. And for those of you who can see, I'm holding, there you can see it, BJ. I have a Cleveland Cavaliers office trash can still to this day in my next to my desk here at the recording studios. And yeah, it was big. When he took the Cleveland Cavaliers to the NBA championship, that was huge. And I guess that's what got me into it. Because I watch plenty of basketball when the regular season comes around. Sure. So, all right, cool.
Speaking of your man, he's going into his 21st season.
The guy is like, he's ageless. I mean, I know he takes meticulous care of his body. If BJ Odom and Bill Stevens took as good a care of their bodies as LeBron took care of his, we'd be out there playing basketball too. Let's face it. I mean, it doesn't matter, so I get it.
I don't even know though, if we took care of our bodies that good, if we would be out playing.
It helps to be, have 2% body fat and, crazy muscle and be, 6'8" or 6'10", whatever he is. So yes, that helps. But I get it. It would be more help, which is interesting because I was listening, kind of a little side note. I was listening to a podcast driving back from St. Augustine last night, and it was all about muscle and aging and how, as you get older, BJ and Bill, as you get older, your need for protein actually increases, and not so much the other nutrients. We're not too worried about that, but how important muscle is to old people, because again, like you hear it all the time, some old aunt or uncle falls down, breaks a hip, that kind of thing. Muscle is what prevents that. Muscle is what lets you bounce back from injuries and all that. So it made a lot of sense to me, and I'm probably going to go find this podcaster's book and read up on it, and probably do damn little with it, but I'm going to read it. So there you go.
Yeah, I need more protein in my diet. There's no doubt about it.
I absolutely know that I do. Yeah.
But I have never been a great basketball player, but I am a guy that would go out to the court and shoot around a little bit. I mean, not being guarded, but just, going out and shooting some hoops, just on my own.
For fun. Sure.
And I wasn't bad. I mean, I wasn't great, but I mean, percentage wise, I wasn't bad.
Right.
About 6 months ago, I had a court in front of me. I said, let me go out and take it, because I still got a basketball. Let me go out and, just, take a couple shots and see what I got. I couldn't even get it to the rim. I have lost so much body muscle that I couldn't even go out. I could bounce the ball fine.
Oh, sure.
And I could take the shot fine, but it
And
wouldn't
watch-
even get to the rim. I'm like, what has happened to me? I can't even get the ball to the rim.
Sorry. I'm laughing, but I'm sure that I would probably be now I'm not saying I'm in much better shape than you, but I do occasionally play a little pickleball still, which requires a little bit of running and a little bit of coordination and a little bit of whack on the ball. So, but yeah, I'm sitting here as you and I record this, and I'm feeling like, where's the stiff parts after getting out of bed and what needs to be stretched more this morning? Look, so here, great. What a great show. Two old bums talking about how they hurt and how they can't do squat. So great. What a great show we're talking about. Oh my God. What else you got? Come on, let's get some fun.
Well, if you want to talk about my athletic, ability, I did play a little cornhole over the weekend.
Cornhole. Good.
But even that game, after, because you got to bend down and, get your little bag because,
Your little beanbag. Yep.
they don't pop up and, land in your hand.
Nope.
So like we played, a game that, the 21, and we go, oh, I want to do another one. I said, oh no, I think I need to rest. I've bent down too many times. My legs are already hurt. My legs were hurt from bending down, but let's say neither one of us were very, outstanding pickleball players.
Right.
So that going to 21, wasn't like a lot of people can go to 21 when they play pickleball.
Cornhole.
It might have been like 2 or 3 games for somebody who
You're talking
really
cornhole.
knew what they were doing.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. Those beanbags, they're heavy, man. Those beanbags are heavy.
It wasn't the heaviness. It was the squatting and picking them up and coming back up. That was like doing like 100 squats in, a 30-minute period.
When cornhole gets to be too much work, yeah, you got some work to do there. You got some maintenance to take care of with the body for sure.
But I need to play more cornhole so I can maybe I can go 2 games next time.
Wow.
Start
Okay.
small, build up.
Baby steps. All right. I think we've bored people to tears enough with how bad of an athlete both of us are. So yeah, what else is happening out there?
Not a whole lot.
No?
No, well, let me see. I guess, like little kids, we try to teach them how to tie their shoelaces.
Yes.
Most kids nowadays can use smartphones better than they can tie their shoelaces.
I totally believe that.
And we'll talk about the young for a while and pick on them. Yeah, they can't tie their shoes.
I believe
Boy,
it.
can they work a smartphone.
I totally believe it because look at me. I've got 4 pairs of shoes that I can see in my closet right now, if I were in my closet, and 3 out of the 4 are slip-ons. Those Skechers slip-ons or whatever you see on TV. I'm wearing a pair of them right now. It's like, if I don't have to tie my shoe, if I don't have to bend over and tie my shoes, I'm all for it. I'm in.
See, and I have the same thing. You go into my closet, I got about 4 pairs of shoes.
Right.
And 1 you tie.
So kids don't. Again, that's like when they put, and I've seen this video on YouTube, and I don't know if it was a setup or a fake or whatever, but it's hilarious, where they put 4 20-year-olds or 18 to 20-year-old or some college students in a room with a dial phone, a rotary dial phone, and tell them go ahead, make a call. $20 to the first guy that can make a call. And they don't even know what it is. I mean, well, I think they figure out what it is, but they have no idea how to even use it. And that just mind-blowing.
Yeah, I've seen a few of that. Sometimes they try to push the numbers down.
Yeah.
It's a rotary phone. They're trying to push
on the numbers
in the rotary down. It is quite humorous. But as I read on there, it says like children, and I'm talking age 2 to 5.
2 to 5
can work a smartphone. 2 to 5 years old. Smartphones. It makes you wonder, is that the parents? Because, I don't care if we go into a restaurant.
Right.
Sometimes we used to take like little toys and stuff for the kids, to keep themselves occupied at the table.
Sure.
Now you go in any restaurant and you see a family, with small children. They all have their little, smartphone, little iPads or whatever.
iPad.
They're either playing a game or watching cartoons or something.
Right.
It's,
So my question is, and yeah, because I see that all the time. Is that a good thing or not? Are we keeping, because believe me, as the old crotchety, grumpy old man sitting in the booth next to you, I love that the kids are quiet and are paying attention to their screens and are not throwing a tantrum or standing up on the chair, staring at me over the back of the booth or something like that. I love that. But is that, are we not like teaching kids? We're teaching zero social skills here. Zero social skills. It's like sit at the table and let's do this crazy thing that's called talking as a family. Let's talk as a family. How was your day? And, fine is not an answer. So I don't have kids, so I got no skin in this game. And of course, I mean, you have grandkids by now, so I don't know. Maybe they got stuff going on, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what I think about that. I don't know what you're a grandfather. You tell us there.
Like you said, it's nice to keep them occupied, but let's go back to the old man syndrome. I haven't been out shooting baskets. I haven't been out doing a lot of things, as far as exercise that maybe I should, that makes these things difficult for me now. All right, now you're taking a child between the age of 2 and 6 years old, and they're 90% sit in front of a screen, which means they're not going out with the neighbor kids playing baseball. They're not going out with the neighbor kids playing a little basketball. So where are their muscles even developing?
Have you ever seen one of the first Disney computer animated movies was called Wall-E, and it was about a little robot who was a janitor robot on a spaceship, and they were like going to some far off star. So it was a ship that was going to be like people lived and died and grew up and grew old, and they had these chairs that people sat in, and people got to be so big and so fat and so out of shape that they basically lived in the chair. They lived in the chair was like a hoverboard, and it just scooted around the ship, and they used to get their drinks out of like a smoothie machine and all that. And that's what it's coming to. I mean, that's where we're going. We're turning into a race. Well, us, in the quote unquote modern world, we're kind of turning into this race of blobs who is just going to have everything, food is delivered. Everything's delivered to us. Everything's taken care of. We call, we need a ride somewhere. The car shows up, whatever. So yes, we're basically turning into a race of nothings. Now, the problem, of course, is in other parts of the world, people will continue to be working and, doing things that require muscle and all of that. What side of the fence do you want to be on? I don't know. It's weird.
But even take our brains.
Right?
When you and I were kids, let's say we did want to go outside and play. We had to pick up the phone and call our friends. Mm-hmm. And when we picked up the phone to call our friends, we knew their phone number before we even called them to say, hey, Ben, hey, John, hey, Larry. We're going to play some basketball. Why don't you come over? Now, okay, I'll push the Larry button. I'll push the Ben button.
How many phone numbers? So here's the good question, or you're absolutely positively 100% right. How many phone numbers can you pull out of your memory right now? How many phone numbers can you remember? I'm lucky I can remember my own phone number. That's how bad it's gotten. You're so right about that.
I can give you my home number.
Yep.
I can give you my wife's number.
Yep.
I can give you my daughter's number.
Off the top of your head.
My son, which I talk to on a regular basis.
Good.
I could not even tell you the first 3 numbers. I could give you the area code, but after that, I'm stumped.
because all you're doing, and I got my phone in my hand, and I know you got yours in your hand. All we're doing is we're picking up the phone and we're saying, hey Siri, hey Alexa, hey Google, hey Amazon, hey whatever, call BJ. And off it goes. Oh, and everything is talking in my house right now. So there you go. Yeah, that's BJ. Yes, Alexa, stop. See, and now you got to talk to the gadgets.
And now even
that's
this.
crazy.
But I will tell you this too.
Alexa,
I said I knew my wife's and my daughter's number.
Right.
They are so close to being the same number that so really, am I only knowing one? And I just know that I have to change this number to that number to be able to get it.
Right. So there you are. So your memory, I don't want to say our memory is gone, because I hope and I pray that those memory cells that used to hold phone numbers are being put to good work doing something else. But I don't know that. I don't know that, because when you think about it, what a crazy thing to say, right? When you ponder the idea, what are you using your memory for nowadays? What things other than friends and faces, and it's like, oh, there's BJ, there's Bill, there's whatever. What else are we using our memory for in our head? And because it's all on the gadget, it's all on the phone. I don't have to remember anything.
Well, I know exactly how to get to my son's house from my house. But you know what?
Right.
I still plug it into the GPS. And the reason being, I like to know, okay, I still have, another 30 minutes before my, arrival time. I still have I still got another hour and a half to go before I get there.
Right. And if you put it into the GPS, sometimes it'll tell you if there's an accident up ahead or traffic you need to be aware of. I get that. I just don't. The more I think about it, the more it scares me to think, what's going on in there? I'm tapping on my brain. What's going on in there? And is it doing me any good? Or am I just living my whole life out of muscle memory? Because you drive to your son's place. It's not like you have to remember it. It's like, turn here. I guess you have to remember it. I don't know the word for what I'm trying to say here, but some things just become habit or routine or whatever. Like if I drive to my girlfriend's house over by St. Augustine, for the first 3 or 4 times I had to have the GPS on. Now I can do it without the GPS. Okay. Is it in my memory? I guess it is. Or have I just done it often enough that the car knows where to go? I don't know. But it kind of freaks me out a little bit.
I understand.
Yeah. Thank God I remember how to make coffee. That's all that matters. I remember how to brew coffee in the morning.
I'm only going to not making coffee no more coffee for me on Sundays. Either that or no more sports. I can't figure it out.
Well, I don't see you giving up. I don't see you giving up on your beloved NASCAR, so that's fine. So,
Well, we only do have 2 more races in the NASCAR season.
Okay.
But then that's one good thing about NASCAR too. Then we only have to wait until February and it's back.
That's right. Back to Daytona. There you go. All right. Go and use your memory for something useful for the next 30 seconds. I don't know what it is, but you go and do that. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Welcome back. I'm Bill Stevens, along with longtime partner and buddy BJ Odom, and this is BJ and Bill, the podcast. If you'd like to get in touch, we would love to hear from you. Surf over to our Facebook page at BJ and Bill Podcast. Remember, as I always say, you got to spell out the and, BJ and Bill Podcast. And what we would really love is for you to stop by wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Leave us that 5-star review, show some love to the podcast, and we will return it to you tenfold or something like that. I don't know. So there you go. As long as you can remember where you got your podcasts from.
Let me read this to you, Bill Stevens.
I'm listening.
A study found that if you read something aloud rather than silently, you're more likely to remember it, as we were speaking of memory.
I totally believe that. I totally believe that.
So if you're studying for a test, I guess you should read everything
aloud. Well, and if you are, and I don't know how many people have to worry about this, but of course, for me, I mean, that was my job for 25 years with, BJ and Bill, and of course yours too, but mine as the news guy, I would write out a page or two of news to deliver in the morning on the radio show or wherever I was doing it. And you can look at it on the page and it's like, okay, that's fine. Read it out loud to yourself. I mean, not out loud. I mean, even if you're the only one in the room, is I guess what I meant by yourself. And you'll hear things that are like, oh, that doesn't sound right. And at the same time, it also, like you said, it puts it in your brain in a better way so that when it comes time for me to read it aloud on the radio with BJ Odom or whatever, it's going to be more natural. It's going to sound better because that's a practice thing too. I get it. But absolutely positively, when I read something out loud, even if I'm the only guy in the room, I remember it better. Absolutely.
So that's why I didn't learn anything in school. I wasn't reading it out loud. Oh, wait a minute. Half the time I wasn't reading it at all. That's why.
Oh, there's that. That might have been an issue. Yes. If you don't read at all, that's a big thing. Yeah. And that's a tough one. I mean, because again, we were talking about young people and their gadgets and gizmos, say that out loud. That stuff is read to them or that it is spoken to them, that the gadget, whatever your digital assistant is, talks to you and tells you the weather, the news, the sports scores, the whatever, rather than you finding something to read it. You don't have to read a newspaper. Nobody reads newspapers anymore, but you can still read a lot of that information on your device. And then you can also have it read to you. So yeah, it would be a really cool thing if you would just take the time to actually read it sometimes. So,
though, I will admit, and everyone is different, and we'll go back to learning now. I'm a person that does better visually and hearing it than if you give me like a note or notebook to study.
Sure.
On my own. If I hear it, I remember it better. And if I see it, I do better. Yeah. And I hate to admit this, and children, do not listen to me. If you're one of my grandchildren, do not listen to me. And I hate to admit this, but I was that person that came home after school with my books. As I walked into the door, the washer and dryer were to the right. I placed my books on the washing machine, went into the house, even if it was for a weekend, did my weekend things. And then all of a sudden it's Monday, time to go back to school. I pick up my books off the washing machine and I headed to work. I mean, I headed to school.
To school, as long as mom hadn't moved them.
Yeah. And I will tell you this, that's the kind of student I was. And I was still a C and D student, a B every now and again.
Duh.
But I never opened a freaking book.
No.
You know what? I hate to use the old joke, but if I would have applied myself, I could have been somebody.
Stop. Everybody. I was going to say everybody probably believes that, but no, there are some people who actually did that applying themselves thing when they were young people, and today they're Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. So yeah, I get it. I do get it. If it was now, did you read other things that you were interested in, or reading just wasn't your thing?
Reading wasn't my thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I will say this about radio also. I am I was when I was younger,
right,
first getting into the business, but I was always a much better ad-libber than if I had something in front of me that I had to present. In reading it, it never turned out good.
Right. Right. No, I get that. I was
a much better think on my feet, speak on my feet, which as a young person also that was kind of, low muscle dense and, kind of geeky little scrawny kid. I talked myself out of more fights than my fist could ever fight out of. I could have been a strong guy and, won all the fights, but no, I was the guy that always had,
right.
I would talk myself.
That's okay. Probably spared yourself a few bloody noses that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. Well, so one led to the other. So your ability to talk and to speak and to, like you said, ad lib stuff, that served you well for your radio career. Because I was the same, except for, of course, the news. That had to be written down and word for word, because you don't want to mess up, some important factoid. But yes, I remember that when you and I were doing the radio thing, we had very little, we would come in with a couple of bullet points to talk about. And it's like, oh, I got a story about this. I got a story about that. And then just go with it. And that's a good, I think that's a good skill. I think that's a good, I had an old friend, not too long ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago. A friend was going to the Toastmasters group, which is still are you familiar with that? It's still a cool, important, valuable thing for people in any walk of life. A valuable skill, I believe. A valuable skill is to be able to talk in front of people. I mean, if you're a business leader or a kid's baseball coach or whatever, you have to be able to speak to a group of people. And that's kind of what it's like, to be able to organize your thoughts and to speak and all that. And somebody said, oh, you should go to Toastmasters. And I'm like, you do know I was in radio for 25 years? And they're like, yeah, it might be good for you. I said, right now, give me a topic about anything, and I could speak about it coherently, intelligently, and with fun for 2 minutes right now. I mean, I'm not trying to show off or whatever, but I get it. So you are the same. I know that. It's like BJ and Bill would come into the studio in the morning with a Post-it note, and that would last us for 3 hours of stuff to talk about. So, and that's fine. That's cool. It's all good. So anyway, I don't know how we got off on that tangent, but it's a good one. So yeah, being able to speak and to communicate what's in your head, that's important. That's important as well. So
now we won't be able to make those decisions once we have went to the great beyond. Taking me to my next topic.
I know that was quite the segue there. Quite the
you
segue,
like that segue?
Quite the segue. Go ahead, great beyond. Woo.
Now, I don't know if I have anything or not. As I think I don't really have anything, but I know some people have. Now, when you die, and let's say, I'm going to be cremated. I've always said on this show and years before, I'm a tightwad. Mm-hmm. It's much cheaper just to burn my body than to buy a $10 million, casket,
funeral,
have a $20 million funeral, or people come, doesn't he look like himself?
Well, you can have the funeral where we get we get to view the remains, and then they don't put it in the ground, and then they take it and put it to the torch. Why are we on this topic, BJ Odom? Why? Please tell me where this is going.
The question I was going to ask, is there anything that you would like to be buried with?
No, I don't. I for starters, I agree with you that I don't need to have this body preserved, embalmed, mummified, or anything else, and then put in a box and stuck in the ground, taking up valuable real estate somewhere. So no. So to be buried with, no. Maybe I should be buried with my phone so I can call you, from the other side and say, hey, it's pretty nice over here. But no, I don't. I have no, I give that zero thought. So you must have a story about this. So go ahead. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Because I'm reading what it gave me. I guess I do read some things.
You read a little bullet point. Yeah.
Yeah. But it says, some people, like to want to be, who would want to be buried with their life savings? That'd be dumb.
That'd be dumb.
Some people, they want to be buried, like you said, with a phone.
Right.
Some people want to have their pets' ashes buried with them.
Okay.
People have weird, quirky things. I will say this: I have nothing and I don't think there is anything that I would really think that I should be buried with if I was buried.
Right.
But my brother, every year he had this little black book, and it wasn't like a little black book that you're thinking he had, phone, and he did have phone numbers in it.
Right.
But you could say, cousin Gina, when is her birthday? He could look that up. It would have her birthday. It would have when she got married. It would have, when her dad died, when her mom. It was like
family history.
Family history.
Right.
And he could, he go, when did, how old would grandma, just all these weird, quirky questions. And in his little black book, he had all that information.
Cool.
And, it was like a date book because he would even say, May 17th, BJ's birthday.
Right.
Da, 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 da. And so, but he would redo it every year. He'd get a new book and he'd write all the stuff that he had in it.
Oh.
So the book would grow every year.
I'll bet, just for a little callback, I'll bet he had one hell of a good memory. Because just the act of rewriting that every year or whatever reinforces it in your brain. So he probably had a lot of that up here in his head as well as on the book. So good for him. That's great.
And so, like I said, he did it every year. I don't know if they did the current year. I don't think they did. But
right.
Like the year, because he'd always save these, he'd save a lot of them.
Right.
And I could be wrong, but I do believe that my brother was buried with one of his little black books.
That's cute. That's that's better than being like buried in your car or something, right? That's just ego, but that's cute. He spent a lifetime documenting all of that information as things happened and things changed and, so-and-so died, so-and-so got married, so-and-so had a child, whatever. And he documented all of that. So good for him. And then, if send it along with him for the next life. I think that's cute in a really nice way. And I
believe they did, because he always had it in his shirt pocket. He always had a shirt pocket too. And he'd always pull that out of his shirt pocket and he would give you the answers you wanted.
Of course, you could do that nowadays with your phone. You could document everything on your phone and have it for you forever, and then you don't have to update it. But again, the simple act, not so simple if it becomes a big, hefty book, of reading the information, BJ, like you said, BJ's birthday, blah, 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 and then recopying it. That's huge, because you're taking, which is, again, another callback to what we were talking on. I've done a little bit of reading on this, a little bit of, listening to podcasts and stuff. When you attach a physical action to something going on in your brain, that's like we were talking about. When you read something out loud, you have to speak it. It's a physical thing. You have to speak the words. It cements them in your brain. Same thing with writing them down. If I'm watching, for example, I watch a lot of instructional videos on like YouTube and stuff. Okay, I'm learning how to build a website. I'm learning how to do something in the marketing business or whatever. I'll watch the video and I'm holding it up. I got a notepad and I have a real pen and a real notepad, and I will physically write it down as I'm taking some notes, watching this video. And then afterwards, I'll transfer it into my computer, onto a document on the computer, so I can call it up and remember it later on. And then I either throw the paper away or whatever. But again, the physical act of writing it down helps to put it in your brain. So good for your brother. He was doing it all along, whether he recognized it or not.
Another thing that he would do too, like he would put the age.
Right.
So, and he would do this every year. So you could say like Uncle John died and today is his birthday. And if he would have lived, he would have been 97 years old. He had all that stuff in his little black book.
To this day, I cannot tell you how old my niece or nephew will be on their next birthday. I don't know. I don't remember. I have the birthdays in my calendar. I can tell you the day, but I don't. How old are you? How old are you again? How old are you going to be? So yeah, Uncle Bill should use more of what your brother did and write down, or at least take note of some important factoids. That's great. I love that. I mean, if you take a lesson away from today's podcast, there it is.
Now, I know we did a very G-rated morning show.
Yes, we did.
So the kids could be in the car,
That's what made us the stars that we were.
I hate to do this, but we're going to go a little off script here.
Uh-oh.
As we're on the topic of death and cremation and stuff like that.
Yes.
No, I'm not even going to do it. It's not.
Everybody in my family, my mother, my father, and my brother were all cremated, all of them. And I had I had the honor of spreading their ashes somewhere they would find meaningful and significant. And I got to do that task. As my hero, Lieutenant Worf, would say, the honor is to serve. And that's what I got to do. So somebody will do it for me, not for a long, long time, but somebody will do it for me somewhere.
I was kind of thinking, like a microphone urn might, an urn that looked like a microphone might be cool.
That's a cool idea.
But my cousin's a little on the, like me, a little on the dirty side. And now I think my wife is actually thinking about it.
Uh-oh.
But she's thinking of maybe a urn that's shaped the size of a male anatomy. That's all I'll say.
Of a male appendage.
Yeah. Well, is that appendage? Is that what it's called?
I think so. Well, there's fingers and toes, and then for a guy, there's one more. Yes.
It's my unit. Yeah. She's going to get it.
Junk. All those words that guys use to describe their parts. Yeah. I hear you.
And
so so back up. So back to the joke. So she wants to find your final resting place of something that looks like that particular piece of male anatomy.
And if it vibrates, that's even all the better.
Wait, this, oh my gosh. Tell me is there such a thing?
I don't know, but
if I search online, right? If I search online to a store for toys for adults, I'm trying to find the best way to say this.
A male peanut.
Will I find
a
device? Because if not, that's a business. That is such $1 million business, $100 million business. We're going to take some of BJ's final remains from this earth, and we're going to put them into a device which the still alive spouse can use at her convenience and pleasure. And I've really struggled to find the best way to speak that.
Well, that's not the worst part, though. That's my.
Oh, wait, there's more. Oh my gosh.
There's a part that we were just talking about.
Your part, yes.
That will not be cremated.
That will not be cremated.
It will be taken to a taxidermy.
And stuffed.
Stuffed.
So you're saying Is this in your will? You can
No,
share.
it's not
with
my
us.
will.
Okay, it's going to be in your will. I don't know.
Maybe I should go to the lawyer after the show.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should. And hopefully the lawyer is really either, funny or understanding or whatever, and probably needs to be a guy so it doesn't become sexual harassment. So you want to have that particular piece of your anatomy removed and preserved for all time. What do you like, some Egyptian pharaoh or something?
I don't know. It's going to go up on the mantle, and we don't even have a mantle yet. But I guess my wife's next house with her new husband is going to have a mantle on it.
All right. So before we continue to finish that story, I just want to ask this important question, because every week I have to write the show notes of what we talked about during the show. How the hell, do I write show notes about BJ Odom's junk being removed and stuffed and preserved after his untimely death?
That's your job, Bill.
I was afraid you were going to say that. So I see. So where did this grand idea come from, BJ Odom? Who
I don't know where it all started, but it's been around for a few years.
Really? And you didn't hear this from a friend or,
the main reason why she wants to do the second one.
Yes.
I think my cousin put the first one into motion to make it an idea.
Uh-huh.
And I think the second one was hers, just so when I go to wherever I go, heaven, earth, heaven, hell, wherever, I can't take it with me and use it until she gets there.
So BJ Odom arrives on the other side at, we hope, the pearly gates. And when whatever.
And St. Peter goes, where's your...
Yeah, St. Peter's goes, BJ.
Where's your Peter?
Right. You're not all here, are you? And BJ goes, no, my wife is keeping that back on earth just to make sure I'm a good boy when I get here to the other side. I would hope you'd be a good boy once you get to your final destination. But there's no telling, is there? There's just no telling. So, wow, this got weird quickly.
See, I didn't need all these notes after all, did I?
No, just one. And then we can riff on that. I really think that this is a business. I really think that for men for men out there who are who want to, shall we say, have their spirit live on here in this world, that might be an interesting. Wow, that's just that is so. I want you. I'm waiting, BJ Odom. Now I want you on Shark Tank pitching that to Cuban and the rest.
Hey, Mr. Wonderful, how would you like to keep Mr. Wonderful around after you pass?
Yeah.
Mr. Wonderful can live on for years and years.
Even after you are gone from the body.
See this little slot here? You put batteries in it. And you can make Mr. Wonderful dance whenever Mrs. Wonderful wants to.
Wouldn't Mrs. Wonderful love that? Oh my gosh. Okay. This is, if you're not writing this down, and if this isn't your next 20 minutes of comedy on stage, I don't know what is. I really don't. So, of course, I know you're not doing that.
I wonder if Jesse Stein will make a video promo out of this one.
Oh, I hope not. I don't really want to be connected to it but still, it might be pretty damn funny. It might. So yeah, there you go. Oh. My face hurts from laughing so much. That's awesome. That is awesome.
We're probably about out of time. We haven't even talked about Halloween yet.
You got 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes on Halloween.
So are you a Halloween person?
Not really. Now I live in an apartment. I mean, I don't, and I was here last Halloween, and I think zero happened here. I think they do something up at the front gate or at the clubhouse of my apartment, where the little kids could come during the day and get a candy bar or something. But no, I'm not a Halloween person. No, I'm sorry, I'm not.
Now, we live in a active adult community.
Yes.
And we have a shindig going on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Have no idea what I'll dress as. I have a Everblades jersey, so I may throw that on and go as a hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about going to that anyway.
That's cool. That's
So
cool.
now, so you don't have no. I mean,
I just don't. I mean, it's not my thing. It really isn't. It really isn't. So now quick story. When I way before, was it? No. It was after BJ and Bill, but before I got back to Florida, I lived with I was involved in a relationship with a young lady in Austin, Texas. I lived in Austin, Texas for 2 years. Halloween was her absolute biggest, hugest holiday. She did the house, she did the inside of the house, she did the outside, and come that night, she and Bill were full makeup, answering the doors, scaring the bejesus out of the little kids. And literally, it wasn't hard for yours truly in looking like a zombie standing behind her, and I would tower over these little kids. And I got to admit, scaring the bejesus out of the little kids is kind of fun. But that was it. That was the beginning and the ending of my Halloween career. So,
yeah, Halloween never was a big holiday for me.
It was when I was a kid because I lived in a suburb that was crowded with families. Not crowded. It was a beautiful suburban area with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses, and you could make quite the haul when we were kids with candy going door to door, and then you'd have goodies for the next month or 3. So yeah, it was good.
Maybe because I lived in the country, because it was like
right,
2 to 3 miles between houses. So
you're not going.
That was a long trek.
Yeah, you're not going house to house on Halloween night in the farm country. No.
But the good thing about it was, I will say this: when you went to a house, like maybe you went to 5 of your neighbors, and they knew, they were ready for Halloween.
Okay.
But where you go to a Halloween, and they get the little candy bar,
right.
And then you would get popcorn balls, candy bars, $5 bills. I mean,
wow.
Because this is all we're gonna have all night long, is maybe 5. So
right.
The 5 that came to your house, you were treated like gold.
Yeah, you got rewarded for it. Well, good for you. Good for you. Yes, I remember that. I mean, I don't remember that part of it, but yeah, I remember being a kid and going house to house. Sure, that was fun at the time. But nowadays, I mean, again, nobody's going out after dark nowadays. All the events and all the Halloween stuff is before sunset, so the kids are safe. And I get it. It's unfortunate, but true. I understand all that. So be safe out there, kids. Be safe out there.
Yeah, we'll go to the clubhouse and we'll see what they have to offer.
Right.
Yeah, we went to the potluck the other night. Oh my goodness.
Potluck.
I'm going to go to those more often.
Good meal.
There was some vittling going on, let me tell you.
Well, good. Lots of people that can still cook. They still know how to cook. They don't have to call somebody. They can actually cook. Good for them.
Wish they had that every Saturday night.
There you go.
That could save me a lot of money. No, we
you got to take something.
We didn't prepare anything, but we took something. Let's just say that.
Oh, yeah, wussed out. Come on.
At least we took something.
At least you did what, like a 6-pack of beer or something? I mean, come on. No,
we took M&Ms.
M&Ms.
No, we took a big, I mean, it was a big container.
Okay.
Of Halloween. Candy. It was Halloween M&Ms, actually.
Okay.
They were, orange and
brown
and stuff.
And all that. Yeah, sure.
For Halloween.
Okay. All right, fine.
So now, if anybody in the neighborhood is listening, you're going, who's the idiots who just? But you know what? I want to say, by the end of the night, they were all gone.
There you go. They went to good use. They were happily consumed. Good for you.
Yes.
Good. All right. Well, it's a big week coming up. Like we said, by the time you are hearing this podcast, the NBA will be underway. The World Series should be set by the time we record. By the time you are hearing this on Wednesday,
might even be the first game or two.
Yep. The World Series starts Friday night this week, so all that is coming up. So there you go. Last minute thoughts there, Mr. Odom, because I don't know what the heck I'm going to do to edit this podcast but I'm going to have to work on it. That's for sure.
Oh no, Ed, it's a podcast.
Go straight, no chaser. That's us.
We didn't curse.
Nope,
we
didn't.
didn't say it was
Nope.
we didn't, I think we're perfectly safe.
I hope and trust you are right.
I think adult minds want to know.
I hope and trust you are right.
But now the only problem is it's going to be out in the universe, and somebody's going to take my idea and make millions of dollars.
Yes, they are. Yes,
I better copyright it by Wednesday, so it'll be under my copyright.
Get to it. Hop to it there. Yes, I'm serious. All right, that's good. All right, Mr. Odom. Have yourself a great week. Everybody else, you have yourself a great week too. Remember, stay in touch. BJ and Bill Podcast on Facebook or BJ and Bill Podcast at gmail.com. Go on and leave that review, because if today doesn't deserve a 5-star review, I don't know what does. Just to be honest. So have a great week. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next week. Now it's just up to BJ Odom to say,
how about them Cowboys? Oh, no, wait. They had to buy yesterday. Never mind. See ya.
see ya.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.